Okay, hello everyone. It's Kenyon here, Basketball Rewind. I'm joined by Coach Roach, Beyond the Locker Room, and of course, Mac, the man that they call Mac. Uh, First and foremost, like, comment, and subscribe on your way in. And while we're doing plugs, of course, Mac, take it away. I mean, I just want to actually plug you for a second. Actually, I'll say this. I listen to your pod so much. I've told you before that the way that you probably won't like me saying this, but I would say you're the closest thing to like an audio engineer of sorts that I've seen. I mean, really, the way that you incorporate sound and I don't know if you're an audiophile or what, but it's just the way that you incorporate sound and different mixes from different people talking, record scratches, just whatever to make it feel like a different experience is different. And honestly, people need to check out his podcast. Because it's a live, I don't know how to update the description, but I will definitely promote this and add it to the description later on. So check out the description below, especially if you're checking out this later. Check out Mac's stuff, and Mac, I will definitely get your Twitter handle or anything else, and I will post it throughout the basically throughout the stream. Mac, how are you doing? First and
I'm
foremost.
doing great. I'm doing better with that nice promotion of the Running Off the Screen podcast. Yeah, yeah, that was my aim with putting it together, right? I really tried to put something that can just create a different audio experience, give you the basketball content you want, but mix in a little bit music because I love music myself, So yeah, I just tried to do something different. So thank you for acknowledging that and then having me on your show. I know I said Trey and Samson are my favorite duo, but you guys are my favorite three-man weave to watch, the big three.
Appreciate it.
So I love what you guys are doing. You guys are really intelligent, thoughtful, and you you make thought-provoking conversations. So I'm excited to be a part of the show.
Well, I mean, this isn't the first time you've been on the show, and I might add that Curly as well is going to be, the Luke to. I don't know who is Luke and who is Obi
He
Wan.
calls me Obi-Wan.
Okay,
He
so
calls
you're
me
Obi
Obi-Wan.
Wan. Okay, so we'll have Luke on the show soon again.
Yeah, he is a great pod too. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, honestly, there are some good pods throughout Raptors land. Everyone obviously Raptors Republic. The list goes on. So I think Raptors on the whole has a really good. It's in a good state of affairs overall. If you want to get different types of content. Yeah, you know what? Before I guess we'll go off script a little bit because Will brought it up. What do you guys think of Darko's performance? I guess tonight with Yak. I don't even know Yaka Jordan or what? He's popping threes already. Yeah, we need more of that down the stretch. What do you guys think? I'll start with you, Coach, and then we'll do a round table from there.
We get a Yak corner three. We have a Yak just jumping a little bit inside the foul line for a dunk. And we get a loss tonight, which, if you listen to Leo Routens, that's what he wants us to do right now. So there's no point in this year to continue as is. And people know I hate tanking. I hate the concept. It's because I've coached. But this is where we're at right now. So Darko did a masterclass coaching tonight. Everybody played. Stars played a fair amount of minutes. You got the young guys in to try to close it out. And you got the loss.
Beyond your thoughts?
You're coaching for lottery balls right now.
The secret weapon finally figured it out, man. It took him a while, but he finally got there, man. Good on you, Darko. Finally taking the instructions to heart. I love it. It's the only team I know that when they're trying to win, they're actually losing, and when they're trying to lose, they start to win. I love the Raptors, man. I tell you, man. It's bizarro land around here, but hey, it's our lovable Raptors. Like you say. But they got the job done tonight. As I was mentioning, you guys, I've been Portland's been a sneaky watch for me all year. They're a fun team to watch. My man. Who I look across the country at longingly of what could have been. The man is just down the street, Mr. Sharp, and what could have been. if they've only taken the 8th pick and you can shipped OG out there 3 years ago. My goodness, what could we be seeing now? And I take a tear every night at about 11 o'clock if I flip on the West Coast game, like, sniff. Oh my gosh, he makes it look so easy, man. I tell you, he just recline there, he's having a pina colada, and he's just like putting up 25 like with ease. Everything looks it looks effortless. The jumpers, the crossovers, even dunking on guys, he does it with elegance, man. Like everything's done with elegance for him. If you're just a basketball purist and you just want to watch it for the aesthetic, there's very few players I can pick above, in this case, watching Shaedon Sharpe play. I tell you, man. Especially watching the team I got playing, watching this city, man, let me tell you something, man. It's like discovering gold. I feel like a leprechaun. I discovered gold in this case here when I go watch Shaedon Sharpe. It's like, oh, this is what it looks like. It's the end of the rainbow.
I mean, we've had this conversation before, but on other things. But I'll make the same analogy here. Sometimes it's like you don't know what filet mignon is like until you've really had it. And then suddenly you have it. You're like, man, I've been eating this McDonald's burger. Sorry, McDonald's, but and it just ain't the same. It ain't. This ain't right.
McDonald's getting strays out here.
Hey, McDonald's, if you want to sponsor the pod, I'm all for it. Until then, no one is safe. But yeah, Mac, your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, you guys touched on it perfectly. I think, yeah, that corner 3 from Yak, it's good. And again, you're tanking. You don't want to do too much to win games. Just experiment, see what you have in your players there. Shaedon Sharpe, again, explosive. He's a different level type of athlete that they have out there. So I like what Portland has. I know they don't win a lot of games, but they have a good group of players I think can do good things if they have the right coaching. Not that Chauncey is not, I'm not saying fire Chauncey. He might get fired regardless. It doesn't matter what I say, but I think if they have a little bit more structure in what they're doing offensively, I think they have a good team for the future. But yeah, the Raptors, I like what they've done with those young guys, getting them to close out games, get the experience, and see what you can do, because you never know. Some of these guys might have to be end of bench guys for us next year with how our cap situation is going to be looking, depending how high we get in that draft.
For sure. I'll also give a shout out to Garrett Temple, the way that he tried to close out that game. I know he didn't he didn't get a chance to hit the 3, but that's okay. Sometimes, I'll put it this way. Whether they win or lose these days, it's still very entertaining, because sometimes it's kind of like, how are they going to step on the rake today? And today they stepped on it. Yes. So I don't know if you're pro tank or not, but at this time of the season, actually, that's a good question. Before we get into Western Conference stuff, are you pro tank?
Yeah, for this season, I'm pro tank. Next season, I don't want to see it, but it next season has a good couple of players too. But I don't think we're gonna be bad enough to be in that contention. But I think for this season, I'm pro tank. Let's get that top 4 seed, or top 4 pick, I should say.
Yes. You know what? There's one other thing. With every single passing game, I don't think we're gonna see Brandon Ingram. That's for sure. Yeah.
You never see Jacoby Walter half the time. What are you worried about Brandon Ingram for?
This is true. This is true. I mean, that is very true. Hey, Yak made a surprise that a guest. He guest starred today, so there was that.
Wait, sorry. Didn't the Raptors post coming soon and then delete it?
Okay. Yeah, they might have.
So I don't know. They might want to see him for a couple games, or
man.
I don't know.
That's
okay. So this is the thing. My concern is Brandon Ingram is a man that you might want to keep behind. The top loaders for cards. It's kind of like that. You want to keep him in pristine condition for next year.
Like bubble wrap.
Because say they don't make the plan, which I don't think that they will, but then he gets hurt, and it would just be like, oh,
I don't understand that the play-in discussion, man. Like, why are we still trying? Like, why are people still trying to hold out hope for a play-in? Like,
There's always hope. There's always hope.
This is utter madness to me. Utter madness. We got folks out here like Utah, man. God bless Utah, man. Utah even trying to hide it. The NBA just pretty much said, "Fine, man. Okay, you force our hand. Put the 100K on."
You did a little bit too much,
right? All right. So like Ainge said, "Okay, put Laurie in for a game or two, and then we're gonna be right back at it next week." And it's like,
you didn't even play it for the full game. It's like, all right, 18 minutes, right on time.
We're good to go.
Next to Will, Mr. Hardy.
Sorry, coach, but that's what you gotta do, man. I'm sorry, man. That's what you gotta do. The Raptors out here, we out here got guys. I don't know who we pick. We picking guys here trying to make teams. You don't pick guys like AJ Lawson. You pick some stiff in this case. Got no chance to do anything. And that's
you said Malik Williams.
Right. You don't pick guys that like talent. Like we pick AJ Lawson trying to get picked up for next year. He's putting up 30 a night. It's like, no, we don't want that.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be the ultimate who we play for team for sure. People, if you play hoops grids, write down the names because these names will come in handy. Trust me. There are a few names that I will not say today. I don't want anyone catching strays, but yeah, there are definitely some names out there. Without further ado, let's get into the Western Conference standings. And then, of course, after that, we're going to go right into draft talk, which is what everyone is really here for. So, of course, we have OKC on top of it. I know people keep doubting OKC. I still think that OKC is going to come through. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, a certain Shai Gilgeous-Alexander showed up along with Chet the other day, beyond, and they both collectively had 50 points together. So it ain't no thing. But
hey, that's the equation I'm looking for.
That is the equation.
Can you do it for 4 rounds? That's all I'm asking for. That's the equation.
Hey man. Last year, Shai got them to the promised land.
He ain't the concern.
He is not the concern. So now it's like Kawhi. Kawhi got us to the promised land. Now we all got to take it home.
Wait, Beyond, you don't trust OKC?
No, I don't.
Why? They're too young?
Nah. I have in this case here a team that's got the antidote if they ever can stay healthy, called the Dallas Mavericks. So I know they can get got. So no,
not today.
I don't. Hey, I see who's in the 10th spot right now, my friend.
Get healthy and we'll talk. Get healthy
right.
and we'll talk.
You better
Hey, remember what I said about Cason Wallace? And you were talking smack last year, and you know who locked up Kyrie, at least for a couple games, as a rookie.
All I know is when the series was done, one team was heading to the Western Conference Finals, the other team was packing their bags to head home. That's all I'm saying. And
that's true. That is true.
Right now, a collision course right now, you ain't getting rid of us just yet. We're in the 10th spot as we speak tonight. Okay.
Well, I'll just add one more little bit of trash talk, and I'll just say this. Last I checked, Shai in that series outplayed Luka, and Luka's not there no more.
That's all right. I still got 3 7-footers.
That's true.
And that ain't true. I got one more than last year, and PJ was killing y'all. So that ain't changed. That equation ain't true.
That was scary when healthy.
They are scary when healthy.
Good luck, Chet.
Of course, Houston Rockets have won 6 with 43 wins. And I'm going to try to put this on the screen just so people can see. I think it gives me a chance to. There we go. So, yeah, you should be able to see my screen. Can you guys see my screen?
Coming. Oh, well, I'm coming up, though. Yeah, there it is. Here we go. Look at that. It even sets up what the matchups would be right now. Look at that.
Doesn't get much better than that, folks.
Yeah, exactly.
Brought to you, presented by Google, of course. So after that, of course, we have the Rockets, who have won 6 straight. This is obviously, as it says, if the playoffs started today. And then, of course, we have everyone else, along with the Rockets, that are all crimped up together, all between 39. If you go all the way down to the Timberwolves, even the Clippers, but health is always going to be a challenge there. All the way up to the Grizzlies and the Nuggets. I don't even know where to start with this one. I know that the Lakers are interesting once they get healthy, so I'm going to put them to the side for now. And I think we should probably focus on, top down, where do you guys think the matchups are going to end up here? Because we have like 15 games left and it can really go any which way. So I'm going to start with Mac. I'll start with you first and then we'll go from there.
I don't know. Let me look at the standings right now.
And also, who are you looking forward to the most? That's another thing. Like, if you could pick who faces who.
I mean, it probably won't happen, but I want to see Golden State versus OKC first round. I want to see that. I want to see Minnesota. Actually, Minnesota versus OKC would have been a good one as well, with Shea and Edwards battling for the face of the league. I think that would be good.
That's still a possibility, Matt.
Yeah, that can still happen. Yeah, that would be good. Yeah, I think that I switched that. Yeah, I think Lakers, Golden State first round would be good if they can find a way to get that going, and then OKC, Minnesota, I want to see first round if I was to pick. Yeah.
Okay, and beyond you?
Well, I think there's a couple of things happening at the same time. I think, go with Matt's point, if I'm OKC, I am praying I am the biggest Sacramento fan I can find right now. Because that is the best matchup. The second best matchup is, hey, man, Kawhi, go at it, man. Knock yourself out. That is the next best matchup. What I don't want to see if I'm OKC is, if I ever get a healthy Dallas, as we discussed, and then the matchup Matt talked about, which is Minnesota. Minnesota's size is still concerning in my mind. Those games have been very strange all year with some violent runs. Where all of a sudden a team could be up 10 points, and next thing you know, they're down 15. It's like, what happened here? So I don't know if you really want to be taking that risk. You're OKC, and Minnesota's starting to come into their own now. They're figuring out how to kind of incorporate Randall a little bit more. It's funny. This is a coach's point from earlier in the season. Since Ant-Man had that I guess tiff or eruption about him not beating double teams, wherever the case may be, and he started actually attacking the hoop more. Lo and behold, what started happening? Amazing how that works out for all the three-point lovers out there. It's amazing how that works out. All of a sudden, things start clicking on offense for Minnesota. So I'm just saying that perspective is going to be fascinating. Then the other one, I think LA, this is where LeBron and the Lakers are going to be masters at this. They're going to position themselves, I think, in a position to either get Houston or Memphis in that first round matchup. And they're going to be pretty much fodder for them. Sorry, Ja. You're going to get the same result like last time. It ain't going to be pretty. Okay. And Houston, they too young to know what's going on. Same thing with them. If you're anybody else in the West, you want one of those two teams in your first round matchup. What you don't want then is to be matched up against Golden State / Minnesota, whichever one gets that sixth spot. So I think watching what happens with LA and Denver, that's going to be fascinating to watch.
Yeah. Coach, your thoughts?
I look at this potential matchup of the Nuggets and the Warriors. If I'm the Warriors, I don't want the Nuggets because I got nobody who's going to stop Jokic on the team. I look at like the Dallas, for example. They have lots of guys who can match up with them, like Beyonce. They have that 7-foot headed monster that you can throw bodies on at Jokic. If I was the Mavericks, I'd be really trying to get up in the standings, that's for sure. I'm just also looking at I think the Lakers are going to be must-see TV in the playoffs. I think when you've got Luka Doncic and LeBron James and what they might be able to do, that's going to be fascinating. Grizzlies and Lakers will be a fascinating matchup. You got Ja Morant on one side. You got Jaren Jackson and LeBron and Luka. I like that. I will say this about the Thunder. I know Beyond doesn't believe him. It's going to be interesting to see this year because the Thunder, as Max said, the Thunder and T-Wolves would be interesting matchup because of SGA and Ant-Man. I find the Thunder right now are almost where the Raptors were when they were making their run. And you're just kind of wondering, like, do they have enough to make that step? I think they do. I think they have enough talent. They get a legit superstar. They get size. They get everything. But I think to Beyond's point, they have to win. That's the biggest thing right now. They have the talent. I think they have the coaching. They got to win now. Because what happened with the Raptors, they were going through, they made that big change, right? Thunder are going to try to, get over the hump this year. And I think they have enough talent to do so, but we'll see.
I would say this with OKC too, which is a concern, because if you look at how the bracket's shaping up right now as of today, their best bet is, as I said before, making sure Minnesota or Dallas is not on their side. Hopefully they get like the 7 seed or something like that, and maybe the other one's eliminated. What the next best thing is that they hope for in this case, I think, is that if how things look, they better hope Memphis could take out Los Angeles, because if they don't, the other problem the Thunder have is the front court depth is one concern. The other thing they don't have is, and it's been an issue for a while, they don't have a lot of bigs in this case, or a lot of big wings to guard these guys. Who's guarding Luka and who's guarding LeBron if they're playing LA? No disrespect to my man Jay Will, that ain't working.
Dort's only one guy, right? I see your point.
With all due respect to my man from Canada, man. Sorry, man. Dort, he ain't ready for this. Lou Dort ain't ready for this. He might bug the hell out of Luka, but Luka's still dropping 30. That's what happened last time they played each other. And LeBron, you think that's mine, LeBron? Like, give me a break. LeBron is a man saying the conference finals against us. So he's been a bigger moments than that. That conference finals. You think he's worried about Lou Dort?
Beyond, here's your question, because you're a resident Mavericks fan. Is Luka on a better team this year with his Lakers than he was last year with the Mavericks?
I was running that today, watching the game. I would say this: it's a give and take situation. The front court, no, but what he has on this team that he didn't have in Dallas is that he only had one other creator on his team in Dallas. He's got 2 on this team. So like he doesn't have to take as much labor and pain to conduct like how he used to do in Dallas. I mean, today even with Reeves, there's about 3-4 possessions where Luka didn't bring the ball up. Luka's just hanging out in the wing. That would never happen in Dallas. Maybe a little bit with Kyrie once in a blue moon, but most times than not, it's still Luka kind of orchestrating the offense. With LeBron out there, and I've seen with LeBron nights, LeBron was like old school Miami, where it was like he just chilling out there on the wing. And when Wade used to bring up the ball, it's like Luka's bringing up the ball. Reeves, he's not even touching the ball. This idea that LeBron can't play with Luka is always laughable to me. It's like, you guys haven't watched what was going on in Miami, or Cleveland, it's like LeBron play with anybody when he's ready. It's like that's not an issue. So I think in some ways he might be better off for his own. I just put it this way, Coach. His own stamina issues that he has, I think, will be less of an issue in LA than they were in Dallas.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I mean, the way that they can kind of stagger with LeBron and Luka. Obviously, Mark Williams is not a Laker right now. That would have been nice to have happen for them. I would say the Lakers team is less balanced from a construction standpoint, but it's probably, to your point, it's a better team, and it's a more, I want to say more dangerous, because I mean Luka and Kyrie were a dangerous tandem, but it's a dangerous team in a different way. I mean, LeBron in a playoff setting is LeBron in a playoff setting. I mean, there's just
no disrespect to Kyrie. That's a different animal you're dealing with.
Yeah, and then my issue with Luka has always been the temperament in late game situations. Well, now you and Kyrie is Kyrie.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'll just say that, and LeBron is LeBron, and LeBron doesn't have those temperament issues in general. So, I mean, they're a very dangerous team right now. As the bracket is looking, they probably want to be on the Thunder side than on the Warriors side, I'll say.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is, Kenyon, is like they also have something that Dallas, unfortunately, we were able to create in this case here. Is like they have about at least 4 to 5 guys who get you 25 points any night.
Yeah, I mean, like you know me. I always talk about punching up, right?
Right.
And it's like Rui can punch up. You're not
Right.
you're not
We've seen
expecting
Rui in
him,
playoff.
you
Yeah,
know.
we've seen Rui in playoff games get 20 and 10 or 25 and 10 in
Yeah.
playoff games.
And now you don't want to rely on Rui, but
No,
but he can get there.
right.
I
Now,
mean,
PJ
Austin Reeves can go off as
Austin
well.
Reeves for sure. Yeah,
You
PJ
know,
Washington
yeah.
can give you that to some extent, so I will give him that. But like for example,
Yeah.
we have no Dallas had no on the bench like Connect that could give you 35 any given night. Connect threw up 30 something against Denver the other night. He
Yeah.
raised 60 points between the two of them. There's no one Dallas has that on our bench. No disrespect to Omax and these guys. That ain't happening.
Now, Will asked a good question, which is about Denver. I think I clicked. Yeah, what? And I mean, it's a good question because shout out to Mouth of the North, Reese. I mean, we were talking about this the other day offline. How Denver right now they've dropped to the lowest defensive rating that they've ever had. They've always been top 10, but they've. I think the year that they won the chip, I was looking, they were top 7, and they dipped down to top 9. They're 18th overall on defense, and my rules is like to win a chip. Usually, you're top 10 in both categories, and realistically, you have to have at least one of those categories be top 5, and they are not top 5. I think they're top 5 on offense if I look at the numbers, but defensively, 18th is not good enough. So that's probably where I see is that, guys like Murray, the perimeter defense outside of obviously, Aaron Gordon, who's not really like he's a perimeter. He can defend multiple positions, but he's not going to be like your POA defender against maybe against the Lakers. But I think they're just aging. That's the way that I look at it. If I'm looking at the playoff matchups that I almost look at storylines. So to your point, if I hope that it doesn't happen for them, but it could, because if the Timberwolves lose against Kawhi and then go on to beat, say, the Kings, there's a really good matchup with Minnesota and OKC. The Grizzlies versus the Lakers right now, I don't find that as compelling because we already know how that's going to turn out. Okay, it's just, so I would rather the Grizzlies face the Nuggets. I think that is a much more interesting matchup because of the, between Jaren Jackson and anyone else that they can kind of throw as a kitchen sink, at the Nuggets. I think that would be interesting. I think a first round matchup of the Warriors versus the Lakers, that is going to be interesting. That is must watch TV. And then of course the Clippers versus the Rockets, mainly because the Clippers have always struggled to kind of get over the hump, and this might just be their chance. So but I don't doubt the Rockets. I think Ime is a pretty good coach. He might have a couple of tricks up their sleeve, and let's just call the Rockets your young frisky team. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts. Any final thoughts before we move on to draft stuff?
I think if the Warriors.
I just think.
Go ahead, Matt. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, no, go ahead. No, I was just gonna say about the Lakers. You guys made a good point. With them playing, they're kind of playing better than they kind of look like on paper. I know you have Luka and LeBron, but defensively, I'm really surprised with what they've been able to do. Locking up, switching properly. I think JJ Redick has done a great job. I don't think it's been talked about enough with what they had to deal with this season as far as switching. They literally switched the way they play halfway through the year, and they've still been able to keep up pace with the standings. So I like how that looks. And I think why people are not big on the Thunder, what I'm probably taking from you guys right now is like maybe they don't trust their youth. They don't trust the fact that they haven't been dominant in the sense of teams that are not guard heavy, because they have a lot of point of attack defenders in Caruso, Cason Wallace. Shea stepped up his defense. J-Dub has been playing well defensively. They haven't really done a great job against teams that are more physical inside. So I think that's going to be something that they're going to have to. I guess that's the reason they got Hartenstein, to see if he can pick that up for them in the postseason. So that's one thing I'm going to be looking for when it comes to OKC.
Okay, I got to defend OKC just a little bit. Just remember, they went through the majority of the season being number 1 on defense without Hartenstein, without Chet. So I'm just saying.
I mean, but they're not facing playoff teams every game.
That
like
is
I'm
true.
saying,
Playoffs
when you're in
true.
a
That is true.
You know,
So-
you're not gonna get a chance to feed off the Raptors and win by 40 in this case to help your defensive numbers. That ain't happening.
No. But I mean, that is true. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. We will see. I do think that they can play very. There's a lot of versatility in terms of the styles that they can play because of the construction of their team, and that's what I think. I mean, looking back at our championship, that's what one of the things where you could play a specific style with Ibaka out there versus Marc Gasol, or you could play them together. It's the same thing. Like they can size up and play Chet at the 4, for example, and that gives them a different look. We will see how that plays out in real world testing ground very soon, because season is coming to a close really shortly. Now, I'm not going to talk about it, but I'll just show people the kind of the reverse standings on each. So again, you have Phoenix are out of it, but really I'm going to focus on the West. These bottom 2 teams or these bottom 3 teams. So that San Antonio, with Fox, of course, opting to get surgery on his finger. New Orleans, who lost too. Jazz are the real MVP of the season, doing their thing, of course. And then in terms of the Eastern Conference, it's a tight tank race at the top, but at the bottom, the Wizards are running away with everything. Charlotte is in hot pursuit, but it is what it is. I know recently Washington got a couple wins, one against the Raptors as well. So we will see what happens. This area right here is where the real action is. Now, before we get into real draft talk, I got to do a reverse thing because usually I mess it up, okay? And I do this at the end. I'm going to start this off. I usually goof it up because for whatever reason, I get the worst luck possible. And you know what? I don't lie about it. I post it, okay? I talk about it. But that's okay. This time we will do it. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we will not move back for once. And then we'll get into Tre Johnson. We move back, but only one, people. Usually, I've gotten 9th before. So we are improving. We are improving, folks. We are improving. Okay, and Coach is not going to save us this time. Okay.
I just see like just days of Igor Denim showing up in my timeline after that. That was like, good gosh.
See, hey.
I wasted 4 months of my life for this season here to end up with Igor Denim. That's what I'm gonna get. Like seriously, that's what we're doing. Oh,
it be like that sometimes. It do be like that sometimes.
We can't have nice things in Toronto, man. It seems like we can't have nice things, man.
No, we can't. We really can't sometimes. Now, here's the question is as we get into it, Tre Johnson, to me, he's a very interesting prospect. And I did a bit of a deep dive myself. Where do I even start? First of all, he's 6'6", reportedly, of course. We have to put that out there because, Combine has not come out yet. But yeah, so Tre Johnson comes in today, 6'6". They say $190. Sometimes it does show. He is, how do I describe it? It's like he's kind of the man that's been stuck in the middle in many ways. He doesn't shy away from contact, which I really, really like on his offense. And I think he's flashed a wide array, a very good, impressive arsenal using half spins, sometimes pull-ups, full turn fadeaways. He gets into floater range. He can show that he has shown that he can be a 3-level scorer. His transition threes are elite. He's comfortable pulling up from both ends of the floor. To me, the biggest swing skill for him, in my opinion, is really like, can he get all the way to the rim? Because when he gets to the rim, good things happen. He gets to the foul line. He scores sometimes, but like he spends, I think I was reading a report like this about a month ago. He got to the rim about 5% of his possessions were at the rim, which is not enough. And I compare that to VJ because sometimes people are asking me, well, why do I like VJ? Sorry, I'm laying my bias show here, but why would I like VJ or over Tre? And it's that ability to knife down through the lane, which we lack on this team outside of RJ. So I could go on and on. There's other things about his pick and roll, but we'll just let that kind of come out naturally. Mac, you're the guest. And you also recently talked about Tre Johnson. So I'll let you go first. I'll go to Beyond, and then I'll go to Coach. And then we'll go in reverse order after that.
Yeah, I think you hit every point about his offensive game. I think with the Raptors, if he ended up on our team, at least he's not a development piece. He's someone that, okay, you're going to have him in your rotation, coming off the bench, trying to give you 15 points a night. He's going to hit shots. He can run off screens. That's one thing that I really think is important for this draft is getting players that can play off ball effectively. But the thing, again, what you mentioned is the fact that he's only getting 4 free throw attempts a game. That's concerning, especially because he's the main guy that has high usage. If he wants to be a true 3-level scorer, he's going to have to be able to play through contact around the rim and get to the foul line. But he has all the pieces and all the skill needed to be a good offensive force in the NBA. And he can, if worst case scenario, you get a Cam Thomas. This guy just goes in there, shoots the lights out, gets out the game, and then keeps your team in the game instead of put him at a detriment. But again, I'm interested to see what he can be defensively. As you said, he's listed at 6'6". I think he has like a 6'9", 6'10" wingspan. So maybe he can kind of use some more effort on that end of the floor with less responsibility offensively and kind of carve out a good, well-rounded role at the next level.
Yeah, good point. I'll say one thing before Beyond goes. The handle is, I won't say it's shaky, but it needs work. However, he has the footwork. And if you can have one or the other, then it will buy you the time needed to get the other skill. So the fact that he has the footwork, that's fine. Beyond, your thoughts?
I don't know. It's an interesting. I love that, and Mac is a guy that follows the draft and kind of these young players, and Tyler's another person that'd be great to ask this question to. But there does seem to be a theme the last 3-4 years of wing players that have the ability and the skill set to kind of be a 3-level scorer. But this is where things are reversed back in the day when I was a younger man. The issues would be in reverse. It would be the 3-point shot would be the issue for them. And the finishing around the hoop would be no problem. But we're seeing more and more trends of the getting to the hoop part you're mentioning as the problem. Your man out in Charlotte, right? That was one of his issues in this case when we were going through the draft and we're looking at him. What's the guard? The guard for Charlotte, man, got picked up 2 years ago. Huh? Yeah, Smith. That was the same thing. Smith was the same issue. Pretty wiry dude, had some skill set and stuff like that. But the problem with him was, would he take the contact when he got in the lane? If something's happening with the development of players nowadays where everyone's practicing the 3-point shots and everyone's happy about that, but the actual ability to actually finish around the hoop and take contact is like a lost skill in its own right.
I do think that Tre does like contact. So I will say that he does like.
But it's the finishing with the contact is the issue I'm getting at, right? And I find more and more of wing and perimeter players. That's the reason why my man out in Baylor, boy, my eyes got big from time. It's because he ain't got no issues with that. He's old school. That's why I call Junior Dwayne Wade. He ain't got no problem with that. Because a lot of these young bucks nowadays, man, everybody got the finesse game and they want all that. But sometimes, man, I call it, we got to get playoff buckets, man. Offensive toughness is what my man Jack calls it. There's a lot of different ways you can phrase it. Offensive testicular fortitude, whatever you want to call it. You need to get in the rim and you need to start yamming on dudes or getting to the rack. And some of these dudes don't want that when the time comes because you're gonna need playoff buckets, and that's the thing that concerns me. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a very good offensive player, and I think to Will's point, he is the next tier when it comes when you go to the next tier of the draft, he's the best of the bunch. He is, in my mind, if the Raptors stay around where they are, if they're in that 6th spot or so, he's going to be the determining factor to find out what type of philosophy this team has. You're picking the best player available, or you're picking for fit? Because obviously when it comes to best player available, I mean, or picking for fit, right now on this team, in theory, he does not fit this team. Because there's other folks in theory have been drafted to do what he's doing right now. So we'll see. I'll just leave the coach, but I like him as a player. Don't get me wrong. But that part, when you mention that, and then Mac, I say, you know what? That reminds my man Smith out in Charlotte. If you just have to close your eyes and you'll do the Pepsi challenge, it's like you can tell the difference. It's the same thing. They're almost the same body weight and shape and everything, and weight and height. Anyways, coach, to you, sir.
I like Tre 6'6". I like the Tre pull up Tre podcast too. Shout out to you, Samson. I see you're watching. So with Tre Johnson 6'6", like Mac said, the wingspan is about 6'10". To me, when I watch him play, it looks like it's 7 foot. To me, he reminds me. I don't like doing comps too much. He reminds me a little bit how he moves and stuff like Mikal Bridges. Now, I'm not saying that defensively he's not going to be Mikal Bridges, but I think he's got a higher offensive ceiling than Mikal Bridges. When I watch him shoot, he really his arms really pull the ball back, so he can really shoot a high release. And if you're guarding him and you're smaller around that same size of him, it's tough to really alter or block that shot because his release is kind of high up and back, and he makes it work for him. He's shooting 40% from three, which I'd still, when you're a first year college player, it's still something that's really good to see. Most shooters take a couple of years to reach that level. So when I watch Tre Johnson, he's got one move that I've kind of noticed that's really good. It's his pullback. He creating space is everything in this game, especially when you're a guard. And us Raptor fans know we ain't got many guys who can really create space. So when I watch Tre Johnson, he can create space. The form is up like old school Larry Bird kind of thing, even the
Got a little
Durant.
Silk Wilkes in there, my friend. For all you
Exactly.
old school fellas. Laker fans, I see you.
Yeah. So I like Tre, but I think what we've all said and basically covered, the top 4 of this draft is almost set. And Tre's not there. Tre's in that next tier of that 5 to maybe 7 or 8. Wouldn't shock me if he went 5 to a team, just with the skill set and what's needed in today in the NBA. You need some guys who can get you some buckets. I think he's averaging about 20 a game. Beyond, what's your thing, what you say about if you score 20 a game?
I always say, man, you add about 4 or 5 points. So that's a man's NBA's average. He's giving you 20 in college, man. That's a man built for 24, 25 a night, man. So, like, I'm just saying, like, he's a guy, he's an explosive offensive player at times. And I think it's become a lost art. Like, everyone looks at scoring almost as if it's like they poo-poo scoring. I don't know why all of a sudden, like, now it's almost like it's an offensive thing if someone's actually like a big-time scorer. Or the volume shooter. Yo, man, that's the name of the game. You got to put the ball in the basket. And that's now with the analytics crowd, that's kind of looked at as like, oh, no, we don't want that. Can you imagine Allen Iverson in this world? Can you imagine what would have been said? Like, no, I don't know about that guy, I'm not sure.
We'd be talking about a little bit more than practice, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Just seeing
the number 1 pick overall, it's like really?
Just seeing Tre run off screens and stationary shooting, like he does that well. That's why I just think he'll be a top 10 pick. He'll probably be a top 7 pick, quite honestly, in this draft.
Yeah,
I think Philly would really do well with him.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah, up on the Sixers.
Don't tempt him.
This draft ideas get worse and worse for me like by the night, man. Like Matt, man, didn't even think of that, man. It's like, oh my gosh.
Oh man, that's a good point, though. Wow. Yeah. Holy smokes.
They get McCain back too. Oh, jeez.
Well, and here's the thing. He's actually, I don't know if he ended up the year in terms of the actual true college season in this fashion, but at one point he was actually ahead of Jared McCain. You mentioned him in terms of at the same level. Mm-hmm. As a transition 3-point shooter and maker, I mean, so imagine those two on the same team. It's something. They'd be a feisty team. We'll put it that way. And also, in a way, they'd have a young core too. Already wrapped up, ready to go. It's just they just have to make sure that the old man would, be able to be on the court enough times for
All
the
you guys
16
talking this
games that he's
draft
needed.
talk. You guys make me seem like I get something stronger in the cupboard, man.
Yeah.
If you guys keep on talking like this, man. With more cranberry juice, trust me.
Oh my goodness, that's right. Gonna ask if it's sorrel or not, but
No,
that also might be a little stiff as well.
Yeah, I might have to top up with something stronger, man. You guys keep on talking like this, man. Make this draft right now, man.
This is just coconut water.
Yeah.
Vodka straight.
I'm out of water, so that's it.
Man.
But yeah, I mean, it's as I said, the biggest swing is really because he doesn't quite have the burst that VJ does, but he also doesn't necessarily need it because he has there's a refinement to his game, in my opinion. I could be wrong. Other people might see his game a different way, but I there's just a refinement to his game that is there. I've heard people call him a VJ light of sorts because he's obviously shorter than, or sorry, not VJ, Ace Bailey light. And in some ways,
okay,
yeah.
I'm just sitting there going like, I was about to say, isn't this like Brandon Ingram, the short version of it? I was about to say that same thing.
Well, you know how I feel about Ace. That. By the way, people, stay tuned because on Wednesday the Ace Bailey, it's been in the chamber. I just need to click the button.
Folks asked to click the button, man. Hate on my man Ace, man. Click on the
button. But yeah. So yes. It is kind of. They do have similar deficiencies in the standpoint of not getting into the deep paint area, but I will say when he does get to the paint, when he does get that lane penetration, he is able to make the right pass out of those positions. So I will say that for sure.
Matt, the rent getting high in that mid range, boy. A lot of people in the Raptors would be working in there, boy. Let me tell you something.
Well, you know what? As was it Jimmy? Is it Jimmy McMillan or whatever? The rent is too damn high.
Rent's too damn high in there, man. You got him, Ingram. You got Scotty. You got who? You got Walter, Grady. There's a lot of people up there want to be in that high that real estate, man.
Hey, man, someone's got to move. Someone's got to. This is my spot. We'll see how that plays out next year for sure.
Wow.
But yeah, Coach, we'll go in reverse order. Coach, what are your thoughts on his defense? I certainly have thoughts, but I went first the last time, so you go first this time.
I think the defense is probably average at best. The numbers are going to say, it's not that good. Sometimes it's just hard to say what system you play with, who you play with. That can affect your defense as well. I'm going to put it this way. He no VJ Edgecombe. He's no Cooper Flag, right? These two-way versatility players to that level. But I think probably what will help Tre Johnson is what Masai Ujiri loves, and that's the wingspan. It looks like he's got a big wingspan. I'm sure that's going to help him, but we're going to have to see a little bit more if he's going to be like a legitimate two-way versatile player. Because I'm just seeing one end of the court right now. No disrespect to him, but that ain't VJ or Cooper Flag out there.
Oh, man. I tell you, man. The Raptors made this May 12th way more eventful than it had to be, man.
Every year.
So I give that to you, Kenyon, because, hey, man, you're banging this drum since December. So I'll give this to you, man. Because I was thinking logically, like most fans in this case here that actually watch the game say, you know what? They can't find a way to screw this up. No, they won't. But no, I forgot who I'm dealing with here, man. It's like, oh, my gosh. As someone said a month ago, I can't remember who mentioned it. The Raptors in this case are doing bizarre land. The draft in this case is the weakest draft in the last 10 years. We try to tank for that draft. And then this one here might be the best draft since 2003. No, we good. We good here. We won't do anything. We're good. What 2028 supposed to be a pretty weak draft? We'd probably be right there at number 1 pick overall, man. Be like Bargnani all over again. We'd be right there at the trough.
Oh, man. We could do better than. Sorry, no offense to Primo, but
I don't get us.
We deserve better.
I really don't, man. I just don't get it.
You say you don't know if we deserve better.
I just
Fair enough.
I don't know. I just don't get us. I just don't. I would just like to get some type of like MLSE whisperer just to tell me exactly what y'all be talking about in these C-suites. Seriously, like what is happening in there? I just want to know.
It's a different thing every day.
Are they in a different league than the rest of the league? I just want to know.
You know what? Today, let's get Pirtle out there.
Holy smokes! Philadelphia 2 weeks was like at number 9 seed. It's in 2 weeks.
Of the LeBron, he's like, give me 3 more of those.
Unbelievable.
Oh my goodness!
Man, I tell you, man. Let me tell you, man. I tell you, man. They don't be easy for your health sometimes, man. Okay. I'm just thinking.
You know what? Well, you know what? I'll say this. I will never complain about Darko if we get a top 4 pick for 6 months, not forever, but for 6 months. I will be quiet. I will advocate for a statue for this man if he does the right thing. That's all. Mac, your thoughts on his defense before I get to
Yeah, just like what Coach was saying, I think it's average at best. But again, it might be just because has so much of an offensive load that he's just taking a break on the other end of the court. So that's why I was saying earlier that maybe with a 6-man role in the NBA to start his career, he might have a little bit more effort because less minutes and more impact that he has to show and prove himself. So yeah, I don't see it becoming a problem. I don't think he's gonna be like giving it all back on the other end of the court, especially in a team system and an established team at that. Like maybe a team like the Raptors who kind of have all their pieces in place and he's off the bench. They could find a way to get him in there in their system.
I got a question for Mac. This is the question I want to know. I'm just exactly where is he playing? What minutes is he getting on this team?
Oh, they're gonna make moves, definitely. Because right now they're gonna have to because they have Grady, they have Walter, they have Ochai. I don't know what they're gonna do with Ochai. They're gonna Chris Boucher is gonna be off.
Oh, Chris Boucher.
So they're gonna have to.
Hey, that's what
he's gonna be off. Yeah,
he's gonna be like,
I know. He's been dodging
the very next day.
I haven't seen a man dodge so many trade deadlines since Miles Turner. Like this. Crazy.
Hey man, my man Sampson's on the call, man. Remember him listening to a podcast 2 years ago on Christmas, talked to one of his colleagues saying that Boston was interested in Boucher. That was 2 years ago.
Yeah. I had an episode like 4 years ago where I was like, he's gone. So yeah, but yeah,
you prove my point. When you talk about the making moves, right? I'm sitting there going like, okay, where are these moves I'm waiting for? I'm just waiting to see where we find the opportunity to play this game.
I'm just picturing what is it that here's Johnny? I'm gonna when Chris goes there, here's Chris.
Right. I'm just waiting. I'm just wondering where we will play these minutes for because I'm sitting around going like, like there's a lot of overlap.
Oh man, see, he's got another. I got one more in me. My goodness.
Well, here's the thing. I think you got to move maybe Grady or Ochai and get maybe some type of front court presence. Someone who can spread the floor and play a little bit of defense, more physicality. I've been calling for this for a couple of years now that since Serge Ibaka has left, we haven't had that physicality up front that could stretch the floor a little bit for us. And I think with this type of makeup of this roster, they need that badly. So take one of those wings if you're going to get Tre Johnson. I wouldn't take him if I had the 6th pick. For full disclosure, I wouldn't take him. I'd take Mally Watch. Yeah, I would take a center, or I'd go in a different direction.
Fair enough. Okay.
I'll go.
I think Mally Watch would be gone.
Yeah, I would take at 6.
Yeah.
Really?
If you see the teams that are constructed ahead of us right now, they could. For example, if I'm Philadelphia, considering the old man's knees in this case, might want to get a center.
Yeah,
that's a good point. That's the one team to look out.
Right. So it's Philly. The other one is Charlotte.
Yes, indeed.
Yes,
they did try to make a move. Yeah, and we heard about that medical report. So they might be able, and they're not alone. I think that there might be if Harper's off the board, there's something to be said for Pelicans. Pelicans could take. They could take Malawatch because they only have Yves Misi. That's it.
And Mac, you know as well as we know that the intoxication, the intoxication of the big. Everyone talks about all these beautiful guards and all these moves and stuff like that. Every year we get this moment. And then what happens? It happened last year. We talked to guys about this just a few weeks ago. We doing all the draft talk. And we pushing back Klingon. We ain't going to deal with Klingon. We don't have to worry about Klingon. And Klingon keep moving on up. Moving on up. The big man. We threw Edie in there, saying, okay, we'll just throw Edie in here, because we ain't going to deal with Edie. And Edie kept moving on up. And so I'm sitting there going like, one good March Madness. Duke is the favorites to win the whole thing. I can easily see a scenario where Malwatch all of a sudden ends up being like top 3 or top 4. I ain't gonna joke about it.
If San Antonio gets 4, okay, they're another team that they could take. Because they want to protect their man. They already have Stephen Castle, so his job is safe, right? So that gets rid of most of the guards. There's an argument that they could take Ace if he's there, but again, I'm talking about 4th. So if he's not there, who are they taking? Right. Malawatch is right there. I agree with you, Beyond. I'm of the mindset that if the Raptors don't move up, because I know a lot of people talk about Malawatch, I don't know if they're selecting Malawatch based on the current.
Nope. They put themselves in a position now that they've now put their fate into the luck of the draw based on what they've done the last 3 weeks. Because if they were in the 4, even the 5 spot, to your point, at that point, you're probably going to say, okay, even if you drop the 6, perhaps, maybe one of the guys we talked about drops there, and you might get away with it. When you're now down around 7 and 8, all bets are off at this point. Now all sorts of teams.
That's scary to think.
It is true, but that's a fact. That's why I say I need something stronger to drink, Matt.
This is also why I've been stressing that, I to a point, I'm a little bit, just a tiny bit concerned of the odds, because I do think that they matter to an extent. Because if you want to have your options, right? Because I think Masai, sorry for the folks who listen to me all the time, Masai has had chances where I see Giannis, or I see this person, I see Shea, and I can't get up there. I don't have what it takes to get there to make the deal. I want draft top 4, pick who you want. Okay? Please. Draft 2. Pick someone you're really nice.
I mean, my man Will's on here mentioning about how Brooklyn might not be interested. I'm not sure that's the case. They got a guy out there that's playing center, that's masquerading as a center. He ain't no real center.
Who are you talking about, Claxton?
Yeah. He's a perpetrating as a center. He ain't no real center.
Well, the problem with Claxton is he's just he's
a power forward trying to pretend to be a center. Come on.
No, but he has no offensive game. That's why he has to just play the center spot. That's what they do with undersized.
I was gonna say something about a Raptor, but I won't.
So that exactly that. So Malawatch is in he might be going to Brooklyn too.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Well, I think beyond you and I kind of had said about a month ago that Malawatch could be the Derek Lively of this draft. Obviously, they're 2 different players. Lively's more mobile. Lively's more bouncy in a sense. Malawatch is somewhat a step back in time for the old centers, but there might be a bit of a jump shot there.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys know, I love Derek Queen. I think offensively, he is the best top 10 center that's available.
Yeah.
But we heard from Tyler yesterday that he is 6'9.5" in shoes. That's not going to cut it for this team. Malawatch, you could tell by watching the game, he's legit 7'2".
Yo, I sat there and watched the game yesterday. I text you guys, said that man ain't 6'9", that man ain't 6'10". Okay? Yeah. I ain't trying to listen. I ain't Ray Charles.
He is talented, though. Let me tell you that.
Yo, man, that dude ain't 6'10". Okay, I know my eyes are telling me right there. And then Tyler confirmed what I said. He's like, yeah, that means once again, perpetrating as a center, really a power forward.
Yeah, I mean it's considered. I'll finish one point just to wrap up the Tre part. I do think in terms of defensively, I do think that he slides his feet fairly well. He doesn't overhelp too often. But there are times where, and he does do a good job of staying connected to his assignment. I just think that for him to thrive in the NBA and be more than just an average defender, but be a plus defender, he needs a backline communicator. He needs a Mark Gasol telling him like, yo, because there's times where I would see literally his teammate would be like, no, you go there. Right. And he would kind of get lost in the mix a little bit. I mean, it's natural. I mean, he's 18 years old or whatever. I'm not too worried. He doesn't, there's nothing that was glaring where he has a defensive bad habit.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's not like, whoa, I'm amazed. Oh my goodness, I've never seen this before. So that's where I'm at. In terms of the overall, yeah, I mean, Con Campbell, he could be he could be a Raptor.
I know, thank you.
Right.
I'm not against it. I'm just saying, one way, but I don't feel very strongly in terms of, that's our pick, right?
So sorry, I have a question for you guys. If you have the 6th pick, you're the GM of the Raptors. You have the 6th pick. Are you going Tre Johnson? Malawach is gone.
That's a good question.
No.
Trade
Malawach
back, or are you
is
taking
gone.
somebody else? The top 4 is gone. Kaspers Siakachonis, if you're not high on him, he's
I would
on
call
your
up.
radar.
I would call up Beyond if we're not in the same draft thing. I'd say, can you pour me a drink?
Yeah, but this is a real conversation because this is the position they're going to be in, right?
I would try. Honestly, I would try to trade up.
Oh, trade up, not trade back. Okay.
Yeah.
But okay. Hold on a second. Trade up for depending where the ping pong balls land, because that's where it comes down to. Because what I'm looking here is like the only team I can see myself. You're gonna crack up. You're gonna say, "Oh hell no!" The only team that has the ability to say, "Yeah, we can trade back." In this case here is the San Antonio Spurs. That's the only team.
Oh, that's our kryptonite.
Yes,
hey man.
Exactly.
All roads lead back to Daddy.
Right. Everybody else is not trading back with you. Charlotte's not trading back with you.
They say, listen. I know you blocked our call.
Right.
But it hasn't been blocked on our side.
You think Washington, Utah's losing these games just to say, we'll go back to the 8th spot? Hell no.
No.
Brooklyn, same thing. Philadelphia done. Nick Nurse, like, listen, man, I took 10 years off my life this year for you guys here to lose these games. We better take one of these damn players in the top 5. He ain't trading back. So, like, who's this mystery team we're trading with besides San Antonio that can afford to do so?
It is the talent at the top 4 enough to warrant not only you trading your pick to trade up, but also taking a future pick, say in 2028 or something like that, and using that to move up since we already used our 2nd pick for next year.
Yes.
If you go top 2, yeah.
Top 4, yes.
And you're not going 1, so you probably have to, yeah. So
top 4, yes.
Whoever gets number 1, that's staying there. Yeah.
That's where I'm at, because if the rebuild's truly over, then you get whoever the heck the guy is. And get the guy. If it's Harper, go get him. If it's Ace, go get him. If it's everyone not named Cooper Flag, if you are not the number 1 pick and stuff like that, go get the dude. That's where I'm at.
I say it again. There's 4 guys on this list that I think that if you had to look at conference finals, like say in the future or the finals, could they be the best player on the court in those playoff series? Those 4 guys potentially could be. I'm a little less on Harper. We have our discussion about that. But don't get me wrong. I ain't looking at gift horse in that mouth. It's like, you know what? Now I'm going to pass a Harper. Hell no. My point is like, here's the thing. Raptor fans hate to break your hearts in this case here, man. The team ain't good enough. I don't care how many guys you got healthy. Okay? The team is not good enough. You can put the healthiest team you want out there next year. Brandon Ingram, Scotty Barnes-led team is not good enough. Bar none, period.
Not for a deep playoff run.
No. At best, they might give you 46 wins. At best. 46 wins. That's where you're going to be. You're going to be in purgatory in this case here as a middle-of-the-road team for the next 5 years if you don't get one of these top 4 picks this year. Because then next year, you're half decent and you get 41 or 43 wins. Good luck. No, sorry, coach. No AJ for you. That ain't happening. No Boozer twin for you. No, that ain't happening. That's out the thing. The next year, you're still decent. Sorry, Bryce James. You ain't coming to the T-Dot. No, your dad likes the city. That ain't happening. So all of a sudden, now it's 2028, 2029, and we're looking here at a team that's win 45 games for the last 3 years, getting knocked out in the first round. That's what your future is if you don't make the move that Kenyon's talking about to get in that top 4 pick. because you get one of those 4 guys. Now you lift the actual ceiling of what you could potentially do. Because that team ain't cutting it. I'm sorry, man. And they ain't gonna drive me to drink. I'll tell you that right now.
So I promised you guys that I wouldn't keep you too long, and we're coming up on the hour mark. So let's answer a couple questions, and then let's get out of here. Beyond, name the 4.
I thought it was pretty obvious in this case.
I thought it was pretty obvious too, but to me, it's probably Cooper Flagg, Dylan Harper, Ace Bailey, VJ Edgecombe. Am I wrong?
Okay, there you go.
There you go. Anyone else have any different top 4 or?
No, it's them, but nobody's trading those top 4 picks. You're not trading if you get the 5th or 6th pick. Nobody's going to trade that. You can offer them all kinds of picks. I just think those 4 are going to be solidified, but 2 through 4 is not a guarantee who's going to go there.
And that's why, while I think development does matter, and I do think you can get great players outside of the top 4 in this year's draft, you want a top 4 pick. If you really truly believe in your developmental staff, why are you giving them more work than they need to do?
Right.
Why, again, it's if you have a really good chef, right? Why are you giving him the McDonald's burger patty, to work with versus the Wagyu beef? Give him the Wagyu beef, let him work his magic, right? That's the way that I look at it.
Right. Exactly. Like Tre Johnson, Yakachonis, I like them as players, but they're floor raisers. They're not ceiling raisers.
That's a good yeah. We need both, to be honest, but
Grady, I just asked him to just pretty much do that right for me. So geez.
Yes. And also, so this is an interesting Wendell Carter Jr. I mean, this is an interesting thought. The problem is, just like Wendell Carter Jr., the size is a bit of the issue, which in turn might have actually led to injuries, if you think about it. Because again, if you're 6'8", I mean, we see it with a lesser extent with Mobo, but if you're 6'8", you might or below trying to play center, you're going to run into problems. Mobo is not 6'8". I think he's 6'6", maybe.
Was it Precious just hurt just the other day in New York?
Precious is another good example. So I mean, to me, Queen is a 4, but the problem is that defensively, I don't know if I have enough comfort in his foot speed for him to play the 4.
Can you imagine about there with Pascal when the wing, good Lord, Pascal would be eating for days.
But Queen has way better offensive upside than Wendell Carter. He can dribble. I think his vision is pretty good, especially over the high post.
I mean, I saw that. Did you see him break that dude down on the perimeter?
Oh, I watched the game.
That last game was crazy.
Yeah, when I say Queen is probably the best offensively polished freshman center to come out. He's ahead of Malawach. It's not even close that way, but the size is concerning. So when Max said, "Would you take Tre Johnson 6?" I might take Queen 6, and I know it's not ideal because I want it Malawach, but I'm going to take the next best player who I think could make a bit of a difference.
See, okay, I guess so, but see, this is my concern and this is why Malawach actually is the perfect fit in some ways. He did not want the top 4
in some ways he is, yeah.
Yes, because he gives you the thing that no one else can give you on the team.
Yeah,
you don't have to worry about it in this case. For these guys to be the best they can be it Tre Johnson or Queen or even Yakachonis, if you want to throw him in the mix, you have to move the brush out the way for them to be the player you want them to be. Like, where's Queen getting shots on this team?
Well, but for me, another reason why I want to move up into the top 4 is I want a tough decision to be made.
Right.
Because you know how I feel. It's like, I haven't seen from a draft standpoint or a movement standpoint them make that tough decision with vim and vigor. In a couple years.
They're avoiding it. They are trying to do everything to avoid it.
So it's like another thing where it's like you just kick the can down the road. Oh, just do whatever the decision is. Whether people like it, hate it, love it, whatever. Do the decision. And it forces them to now get really creative and make decisions faster. At worst, 6 months after the draft. I'm seeing, I agree. The Ingram deal is interesting because a lot of people think I'm low on the Ingram deal. I'm not. I think Ingram is an incredible player, but we just talked about it early. Like that middle floor is very crowded. Scotty likes and I mean Scotty at this point I don't see him spacing the floor. Okay, he thrives in the middle. Ingram thrives in the middle, and Ingram is not a good pull-up threat from three, but he's a good catch and shoot threat from three. Quickly is your pull-up threat, but Quickly likes to dive into the middle and take floaters. RJ is the only person that doesn't. He's threes and layups, which is interesting. But everyone else is like middle.
Talk about Grady.
Then there's Grady that likes to drive in the middle. He needs to work on not driving into traffic, but he likes to drive into the middle. And Jacoby. He operates so, and Jacoby also too.
Well, he said the Reds get.
It's an interesting team. It'll be a very interesting team next year. And
I mean, for building a team for 1994, it's fantastic.
That is true. Yeah. See, yeah. So yeah, this is the thing. We do have there's still a chance. So you're telling me there's a chance, guys.
I'll tell you, Daniel, man. I don't know what you believe in or not. Wherever you got, man. Hail Marys, you name it, man. Wherever, man.
I said to someone the other day, I got to start tithing again.
I want to ask Mac a question. The question that you asked us, I want to ask you. You get the 6th pick. Malowich is off the board. Who you taking?
Yeah, you notice I didn't answer the question.
You dodged it. I might go best player available. I mean, Tre Johnson might be the best there. Yakachonis, but I would try to move to maybe the late lottery to like 13, 14 range. You can get a lot of talent that doesn't really drop off compared to what's at 6. So you can kind of maybe get an extra asset in there. Maybe a pick for next year, second round, something, and not really have to pay as much of a price, but still get the same type of production. So I would move back, maybe take a Jace Richardson or something from with the 13th or 14th pick.
You're not feeling Kasparis?
I think he's a really good player. I think I might if you can't trade the pick, I'm going Kasparis because like Tre is good scorer, but I think Kasparis brings more playmaking elements. He can break it down as far as going to the basket, and I like his flash. I like that he's a true point guard, but he has a 6'6" height with it. So it's a good balance for what our second unit needs, especially if you're going to have a Jamal Shed out there as a smaller guard. It's good to have that as the balance beside him, and they play totally different. So I think it would be a good flow.
I think you're too small, Matt. I think you're too small, man. Like, I mean, I got my man Yakachonis ready to go because, man, when I told these guys already, I got no problem saying it here. I've said it on Spaces.
He's waiting for the expansion draft.
The expansion draft, boy. I'm still going to give me that word, man. Hey, you know what's happening next, my friend.
It's like, who are you? He just has a list.
Lord, the moment the expansion draft
these are the players we're not protecting.
Yeah. Have at it, boys and girls. Have at it.
It's Boucher's still on here.
He's a new starting point guard. That's all I got to say. I say nothing more.
And Temple? He's still in the league.
Yes. I go for bigger fish in Temple. Trust me. He ain't the one.
Yes. So
I'm hoping they take.
Yes. Well, they will be under contract. I'll just say that. With that being said.
Oh, God.
On that note, I guess, yeah. Is there any other things that you guys want to say, or this goes completely off the rails? I know someone suggested trading a consolidation move. The problem with trading for another borderline star is we just traded for a borderline star. At some point, you're just trading to get just getting more mid. Okay. So how much does another Ingram get you?
So let me get this straight. Hold on, let me get this straight, Kenyon. So we ran one out that is a 3-time All-Star now. They're going to get 2 guys.
2-time All-NBA as well.
But, yeah, right. They get 2 guys in this case, made 2 All-Star appearances between the 2 of them. Okay, I like that math. Only Raptors math works that way. Okay. All right, fellas, keep up the good work. Keep it up. Raptors math.
I have not.
Because that's pretty much what you're asking, right? It's like We had one of them fellas, didn't we? Okay, never mind. It must have been a different time period. I don't know.
We did actually, but okay. Final question here goes to Matt. Shout out to Matt. You guys actually, people have messaged me about Rasheed Fleming. So your guys' thoughts on Rasheed Fleming? I've also heard of Colin Murray Boyle, which Beyond actually brought up with Tyler. I will say I like him. Bit of a reach, so not there. And just to get that out of the way, and in terms of Murray Boyle, I think he's a little bit undersized if you're looking at addressing a small, the front court. But I do like his game. He's very interesting. But yeah, if your guys' thoughts on Fleming real quick, and then we'll get out of here. Coach, you first.
Really improved his game. He can really shoot the three now. Great athlete. He's probably going to be in that, 13 to 20 range, which he's really increased his draft stock. Kudos to him. Do I see him as a fit on this team? Maybe, but I think it's the size that's a little concerning to me. We are too small in our front court. We have one 7-foot-footer in Purtle. That's it. I love Derek Queen, but I understand if they don't pick him because if he's too small. The only reason you might pick him is he's the best player left available, and we really like the offensive skill set in Darko system, so let's pick him. With Fleming, Fleming does have a bit of a different skill set, but I just I think you guys had mentioned it. Let's swing for bigger fish.
Yeah, ditto for me. I got Igor Denim right now rolling through my head, man. I can see it coming, man, like a freight train. I'll give Matt my time. I see my time.
I mean, Demon should go back for one more year and play with AJ. That'd be a nice duo there. And Denham being a 6'9" playmaker, that'd be good to play alongside the Bansa there. But yeah, Fleming, I think he's an excellent player. I think he's going to be a 10-year NBA vet, like 10-year plus. I think he does a little bit of everything. Like Coach said, he improved. He's had a very productive college season, except for the conference tournament there. I don't think he played up to what he would hope at the biggest stage there. So that might hurt his confidence a little bit. But I think come combine, if he can measure good across the board, I think he's going to have a maybe late lottery to before the 20s. You could see him getting off the board. So I think he's going to have a good shot at being in that first round.
I think a couple of those guys are going to sneak in the back half of the top 10. I feel a couple of guys that are right now considered top 10 draft picks. When them combines come, I think some folks are going to slide a little bit.
Yeah, I need to do a deeper dive on Rasheed Fleming specifically. I have been told about him. I looked briefly. I just feel like reaching that far. I mean, shout out to JD because I was talking to him about this earlier as well, and I mean, he put it so succinctly that maybe Bobby and Masai are taking the words too literally, where Bobby at one point said, we got to start hitting singles. And I agreed with that. And I've said that on this podcast. But this is where you might want to hit a home run. So just maybe.
I'll take a triple right now.
Yeah. More than just getting on base. Final thing, Raptors need another. This is true. We don't need another role player. Exactly. Yeah. Yes. I think getting elite role players. I mean, if you were to, I know some people like to think that OG on this team, and I keep thinking, if I look at OG's role on the Knicks, he's a fourth option. That's amazing for him. I don't think that we could afford to make an OG a fourth option and get to the playoffs, especially when you have Brandon Ingram, who has injury problems. OG is OG with injury problems. And then Scotty looks like he gets shot every game. Okay. It's just not necessarily the most confidence inducing thing when that is the case. I'm not saying that Scotty's injury prone, but what I'm saying is that does not instill confidence in me that we can get to the playoffs as a healthy team and compete and all that kind of stuff. So I'd like to punch up Dylan Harper right now. I'm sticking with my man. outside of Cooper Flag. Cooper Flag, just so people know, will be playing in March Madness. So stay tuned. With that being said, I've now flashed it in the comments several times. I'm going to flash it one more time, which is Mac's podcast link. Definitely check it out. Also, if definitely listen up to his stuff. Check him out on Twitter or whatever other platforms. I'm assuming it's the same on every platform, Blue Sky and all that kind of stuff. Check that stuff out. I refuse to call it X in general, so that was a Freudian slip. So yeah, I'll just flash up some stuff real quick, and then we'll get out of here. Like, comment, and subscribe to this show, please. Yeah, since that is true, he hasn't come up gimpy as much. He just screams a lot, but he hasn't come up as gimpy as much, which is good. Scotty is very aggressive. At times, yes, he can be quite aggressive. At times. And then,
wait, Matt has one. Yeah, that one.
Yes, beyond. Who are you picking at? Okay, he's having a drink like me.
No, man. Yeah, no, I take my man out from Illinois, man. I take Yakachonis. Yeah, man. I wait for the expansion draft, man. We get my man Yakachonis, and we get an expansion draft. We cooking with something.
Yeah, I mean, if he's there, if it's between him and Tre Johnson, I agree. I go with yeah. I mean,
he does offer something that this team does not do right now. We don't have a lot of guys that can make plays.
I'm not against having a big guard.
No.
He knows how to play. You know, those Lithuanians out of Illinois always.
Yeah,
they know how to play.
They on front, man.
Matas says the same thing as well. So yeah,
exactly. They on front.
That's a good place to end. Matt, shout out to you. Shout out to Daryl. Will, thanks for joining as always, and everyone else. This has been fun. Mac, thank you for coming. And that's it. That's all, folks. Take care. Peace. And I can't say stay warm, so stay well. Okay, peace. Thanks, guys.